Hello, my name is Joe Lastly. I'm an assistant professor of leadership and organizational studies at the University of Southern Maine. And I'm really excited to be sharing just a little bit about what I do in some of my courses here that involves active learning and using the classroom as a community of practice to enhance that kind of leadership learning. So I have a few classes that I am really excited about teaching, well, more than a few actually. And I'm just going to kind of give a brief overview, obviously just a trailer really for what each class is kind of about, and share a few examples to try and explain that. And then hopefully we have an opportunity to interact so that I can do some dialogue or a Q&A and those types of things with all of you. So the courses that I want to talk about are an undergrad org theory course, a community leadership and civic engagement course that is both undergrad and grad students, a doctoral level learning organization course, and then a new course that I'm piloting about game design and leadership in teams. So let's get started with the LOS 300, which is the organizational theory course. And the course design is based around the idea of class as organization with an analysis paper as a major assignment. The main text that we use is Bowman and Deal's Reframing Organizations. So they explain these 4 frames that can be used to analyze organizations: structural, human resources, political, and symbolic. And we move through the course, splitting the time between academic learning, trying to apply and understand the course material from the texts, and then being an organization as a class. And that is a really rich learning environment. The students are always very intrigued and confused, nonetheless, by having to form their own organization. And so last year I did this synchronously, but on Zoom. And so we met as a virtual organization to have our meetings and our class time, and we would split that time evenly. And then this year I teach it face to face, and the organization, the way the organization is forming is a little bit different, not just because of the face to face, but because of the major assignment, the task that I've given the organization. So the major assignments in the course is to do organization work, to be an organization in form, and that involves creating an org chart, a strategic plan, doing a SWOT analysis, roles and responsibilities, creating mission and trying to reach that mission and working to actually complete the objective of the organization. Now, last year, the objective of the organization was to perform a consulting organizational analysis to a real nonprofit that was going through some org change. And so as an organization, they had to decide how they wanted to organize themselves into roles to get their work done, and then also to identify their objectives, like or getting materials from the organization, like their org chart and their strategic plan and all of that, and interviewing members of the organization and how to put together an analysis for that organization. In addition to the work they have to do to be an organization, to become one, which I kind of help them with, but also leave them to fend for themselves a little bit in terms of, I'm part of the organization, they have to figure out what role they want me in, but I'm not going to tell them, oh, here's how we're going to create our missions or things like that. They might have to do some of that work on their own. And there's an assignment. Each student has to do some sort of intervention where they address something in the organization that could be an issue that they've identified, like we need to address this elephant in the room, or there's conflict, or we need to rework our strategic plan, or it could be some form of potential like raising morale or team building, those kinds of things. The other major assignment is that there's an analysis paper that they all have to write using the text to analyze both the organization that we're working with and themselves as an organization. And this year, because we're not doing consulting to another organization, they formed more of an emergent purpose. So I said, you have to be an organization, I have to be part of the organization, but Other than that, you get to create it. What is it? And so that process of them discovering, oh, we have to figure out what kind of structure we want. And is it what we want, or is it what's best for our mission? Well, what's our mission? What's our purpose? How do we motivate people? What connects all of us in our organization? These kinds of things. So they have to do an analysis paper about the class's organization and another organization, kind of comparing the different aspects of org theory that they're experiencing and trying to work through as an org. And of course, there's lots of reflection. There's a reflection constantly in all of the classes. So I think we'll just say that now. And they also do a group reflection about their role in the organization, power and privilege, anything that's not being addressed in their group or in the organization as a whole. And so the active learning points really are about learning about authority and roles in groups and organizations, both when they have the agency, they take it up or they don't take it up, and the group reflection about issues that are kind of outside of people's awareness. So for the community leadership class, this class is asynchronous, which is kind of a cool twist on not doing it face-to-face, where the students, both undergrad and grad, are in an asynchronous course together that is built around service learning, the book Salsa, Soul, and Spirit by Juana Borras, and some journal discussions that they have. And so they design their own community engagement experience, where they choose a community or a partner, an organization to engage with and create their own learning contract of what kind of leadership learning goals they want to have with that. Another major assignment that they do, because all the other assignments are really based around that project and getting them to do that. But they do a leadership memo, where they have to write a memo to a leader in the organization or community that they're working with that addresses some sort of leadership issue that they have. And so this really prompts them to think about what's happening in their community, what are they trying to achieve, what are they struggling to achieve, and how can we motivate people to enlist them in adaptive change and maybe challenge some processes that are happening or bring some issue to attention in their communities through the memo assignment, which of course is we provide them feedback on and advise them whether or not they're going to actually send it to their organization. Some will and some won't, based on the nature of the issue that they're dealing with sometimes. And all of the journal discussions that they do are public discussions. They're not private journal posts, so well, public to the class. So the class forms a community of practice around interpreting, advising, supporting each other in how their community engagement and their leadership successes and challenges are actually going throughout the entire course, in addition to applying the material from Salsa, Soul, and Spirit, which is a multicultural leadership model. And so we try to actually change some communities and apply the material and form a community practice around that. So the course I'm most excited about is the doctoral course. Well, I guess I can't really say that, but I am really excited about this course, the Learning Organization. So in the Learning Organization, doctoral students in leadership, it is asynchronous as well, although this one is a little bit more interactive, even though it is asynchronous, even than the community leadership course is. The course design is designed around a systems learning action project, or a systems thinking action learning project. It's a lot of words, but the students and I form a community of scholar practitioners. We read the Fifth Discipline, Theory U, and Adaptive Leadership, among some other readings, of course. And the students have to design their own action plan and strategy for engaging their organization, some organization they're a part of, in some form of organizational learning. And so all of the major assignments kind of support understanding the scholarly material to do that and coming up with that. So the org learning action case is the bulk of what they're doing, but we're also doing some of our own system sensing activities. I have a meme assignment that I'm going to show to you in a minute, and then they have some discussions, and the discussions have a range of types. There are some that are reflection based, what's going on in our class, in you with our class, and in applying our material to your organization. Some are based on scholarship. Okay, let's critique these theories. How do they integrate together? And then some are based on design. So for example, I model this by forming an invitation. I craft an invitation for the students to join me in the process that is this course. And then the discussion board for them is to design an invitation to their organization to join them in a process of organizational learning, whatever that is for them. And that will contribute to them actually implementing steps in their org learning strategy that they develop. And so there are other discussions and activities around design kind of aspects that they will then implement, of course. And so the action or active learning points within the class comes from, with their implementation, we do several rounds of case consultations where students are grouped into small groups. They'll present the case that they're dealing with, but once with design and then once with implementation. And others will act in specific roles: the synthesizer, the recognizer of potential, the critical friend, the what's not being noticed here kind of roles that they take on to form a consultation. Of course, using all of the principles of adaptive leadership and systems thinking that we're working with and doing that. And they do that, either they have the option to do that on Zoom, so they can meet as a small group, even though it's an asynchronous course, or through the use of technology called VoiceThread, where you record a video and then it becomes kind of a video discussion board where other people watch your video and respond, and then you can see everyone's videos that they've responded to your video, kind of a thing. Which is a little bit more cumbersome, but it still gets at the case consultation process. And of course, I will do one-on-one coaching with them throughout the course as well. So they'll find a time to meet with me. And depending on what time zone they're in and things, that could be whenever. But a few times throughout the course, I'll do one-on-one coaching with them about their action case and their own learning in our system. So speaking of our system, this is the memes assignment I mentioned, which is really cool. This is one example of a couple different types of assignments that I do that get at what is emerging in our system, in our community of systems thinking practitioner scholars. So I'm going to share with you the assignment description so you can see what I'm talking about here. Here's a description of it, where they have to find some sort of image or theory or concept that we're dealing with or that's coming up for them in our class. And it can be broad or narrow, but the point is that this isn't just meme posting on social media where it's pretty simple, reductionist, cynical kind of things. It might be a little cynical, but the point is that it conveys a metaphor for some larger thing that's going on in our organization that each person has a different perspective on. And they post these, I use the Discord platform for them to post these memes and interact with each other on them. And here's an example that I share with them. There's two memes here that I posted. Your meme made the front page, ? And this is condescending Wonka. You should probably add that to your resume. And then the second one is Kermit staring out the rainy window. It's not easy being meme, a play on words for his song, It's Not Easy Being Green. And so I asked them, what's the conversation between these two memes? Obviously, we can see, well, we all have different interpretations, but the first one is, oh, the front page. If your meme makes the front page, that means it has something to do with what's resonating with people in the current moment. And then the condescending part of, oh, you should put that on your resume, speaks to the voice of the imposter in the PhD students that is coming through. And then you have this Kermit like longingly staring out the window saying, well, it's not easy being meme. And the being meme part really gets to the embodied piece of the metaphor and how it's not easy being in touch with what's on the front page. And so the conversation that's happening between these two, we can have this whole discussion. And of course, there are other interpretations of each meme and what's going on, and then other memes that get added and these types of things. This is just the example. But the point is to use metaphor to determine what issues are alive within our system as a community of practitioners, scholars with each other. And some examples that have come up are, of course, you kind of had to be there, but this is an image that I posted saying, "This is us." That was my caption. You know, this piece of technology that's highly focused to around this one focal point in the image. And you can clearly see the hand that is adjusting that, but the full picture of the beauty is a little bit blurred. And so then we have a discussion about that. There's another cartoon here. A crab and a shrimp are trying to do a race. The blowfish startles itself by trying to start the race, and then the crab goes sideways and the shrimp goes backwards, but we thought we were going to go forwards. And what does that mean about organizational learning? And so we have discussion about that. And of course, they post other things if that's what's resonating for them. So that's kind of how I try to both sense the system within our course asynchronously, while also guiding them through the process of designing, implementing, and then consulting to each other about an actual systems level org learning case. So the last course is this team learning and game design course where I'll just kind of simply say that the entire course is built around putting them into teams, and each team will identify some sort of social impact or leadership development goal that they want to achieve in their game. And then they will design a game around that idea. And the entire course is built around applying the concepts of team learning in game design, and both in their game and then the parallel processing of being on the balcony and on the dance floor of the game itself and the learning that they're trying to inspire. So anyway, that's a trailer for some of the courses that I teach, and hopefully we get to chat about it. But otherwise, you can find me online at joe.lastly@maine.edu. Have a good day.